And we are live. Perfect. We are live and we are on Car Talk. Who just got one person on. Like always, we'll give this a few minutes to let people come in. But if you are joining, make sure you comment down below, say hi. Hey, what's going on, Moses? What's going on, Andy? So you got a few people slowly coming in. For some reason, I can't. There's a way to check on here. Hey, what's going on? Got Rope Garage in the house. Patrick, what's going on? How you guys doing? For some reason, when I click on my participants, it only pops. I only see myself. But anyways, hope you guys are doing good. Hope you guys are having a good time and enjoying this. I guess here in Houston's really nice weather. Yeah, I'm not sure why it doesn't work, but it's all good. Anyways, guys, welcome to the live stream. Pretty much talk about cars and in general, my Camaro, the Mustang, things like that, and just car news around in general. So one thing I wanted to talk about first is kind of what the status is on my cars. So basically where we're at with the Camaro and where we're at with the Mustang. And we'll start with the Mustang first because that one's pretty much just a daily, not really doing too much performance stuff with that. But with the Mustang, I did the whole pretty much visual bringing back to life, paint correction, changing up a few details. I do have the stripe kit that I removed from the Mach 1 when I did the detail, the paint correction. So I've got to put that back on. Got a couple badges I want to change out. But other than that, the Mustang is pretty good. The differential, I need to fix the differential. It's not bad, but the clutches, the limited slip clutches are pretty much gone. So that's something I've got to replace. But other than that, it's been a great car. Dailying the car and doing really well. Has helped me keep the Camaro in the garage when it's been raining. So I haven't had to wash the Camaro that often. And now I guess moving on to the Camaro. So last time you guys saw the Camaro on the channel, we were at the track. It was very cold. We had pretty much 0 DA, and the car ran its fastest time yet. It was an 11:29 at 122.5 miles an hour. So that was with, yeah, man. I'm now at the point where I think I can get one more bolt on, which is the underdrive pulley. So right now I'm thinking of just going ahead and getting that over with, doing the underdrive, especially even if I can get a blower or not. That's something that you want to update to help with all the forces and transition, rotations and all that stuff, vibrations and whatnot. So I want to do the underdrive pulley, but at this point, it's kind of going to get more expensive. Before, you buy one part at a time and it was this or that, a few $100 here, a few $100 there. Now our options start going a little bit pricier. So, and that's maybe one thing I want to kind of get you guys' ideas and bounce some ideas off you guys, because we can do various different routes that we can go. One being going staying naturally aspirated and doing something like a heads and cam. That would really kind of complement the ported setup that I have with the MSD intake and the ported throttle body. But I've already kind of shopped around with different shops and quotes, and it's looking like around parts and labor, I'm gonna be spending $5,000 to do a heads and cam, a proper heads and cam installation at a shop. Now, I've done head swaps before. I did have to remove a head and kind of do stuff like that. Yes, yes, they are. They are really expensive. And I'm assuming a lot of it has to do with just the amount of work that you need to do on the Gen 5s. I guess you could do it with the engine in, but because of the way the gaskets are, that you have to use silicone instead of a physical gasket on these Gen 5s, it makes it a lot easier to just pull the engine out and do all the work outside than trying to do everything in the crowded space of the car. So that's basically, yeah, it's very involved, and I would love to do it myself. And I feel like if I took the time, I probably could. But being the car that it is so new, I mean, it has 3,300 miles. I actually took it out to a company car show last weekend and was able to put quite a few miles in it. But it's at 3,500 miles right now, roughly. And I mean, I've already done everything else, but nothing touching the engine. Now, maybe not, since we have Goat Rope Garage here, maybe I'd love to ask you a question with regards to if I just did the head swap, what all parts, like if I wanted to kind of do the just heads and leave the stock cam in there and do, let's say, ported heads, how much or how many of the part would I be able to just do that and do the DOD delete part of the top end? I mean, it's already tuned out, so basically once the heads are removed, I can get to the lifters and just pop all those out. Would that work? Would I be able to do that with the stock cam? And I'm assuming because it's a stock cam, I would not necessarily need to buy or change out the springs on the heads, correct? If I'm keeping the stock cam, I can keep the stock springs, basically leave everything on the heads the same, with the same spring, same everything. It's just change out the lifters. And I'm assuming, I think the valley cover is, maybe you can either disconnect some stuff or put a new valley cover on. Because that is something I think I could do. And okay, yeah, that on the rocker arms, correct. So that is something I'm actually very interested in because that I feel like is something I could do myself. And I mean, as far as, torquing things and removing things, I'm good with that on the top end. Luckily, I mean, obviously heads have the gaskets and all that. So that is another idea that I have, is keeping the stock cam and doing the ported heads. And there's been a couple people on Facebook, I think Praise Performance, they've done that before, where they've had a stock cam, just swapped out the heads and made quite a bit of money. Yes, exactly. So if I did all that, then doing a cam would probably be a lot less because they wouldn't have to remove the heads or do any of that. Correct? I'm assuming that the labor would go down on later on if I decided to do a cam. So that is something I'm really considering. I think it would really complement my ported throttle body, my ported intake manifold, if I could get the ported heads. So that is really the second option. So option one, obviously it's very pricey, but it's cam and heads and I get everything all done at once. Or just ported heads and do the work myself, which I feel like would be great to show you guys. And I'm still doing everything myself, keeping it and saving the money, because I believe at this point a set of ported heads would cost me roughly $1,500 or so, depending on who you get them from. So that is my second option, is doing the heads and keeping the stock cam and trying to run with that. And I think that would be really strong. I think that would work really well. That would be a great combo. Then the other option, if I don't decide to go that route, it costs just about the same, is going nitrous. And a lot of people have different opinions. Rike, hey man, thanks a lot. I appreciate it. So going nitrous is another option, and nitrous would be around the same $1,500 as doing heads, but it'd be a lot less invasive. Literally just bolt it on and go. So I've had nitrous before. I had it on my Pontiac G8 before. So what are you guys' thoughts on nitrous? That obviously done correctly, you know, it can be safe. There's obviously a lot more leg up work, having to check spark plugs every time after you use nitrous, things like that. So I feel like I can do that, and nitrous would be, I guess, the best bang for your buck, because you can get with a head swap, you'd probably looking at 25, 30 horsepower or so on a stock cam, at least from what I've seen online. Nitrous kit would be, that would get me into basically 100 to 150 horsepower extra easily. So exactly, with nitrous, I think I could get easy mid tens, maybe even some low tens. So that's the other option that I've really been looking at. Andy, if I did go nitrous, it would probably be 100 shot right off the gate. I think 100 shot would be right there in the middle. Not too much timing removed, not too much, adjustments for a 100 shot. I believe it's 2 or 3 degrees of timing for 100 shot, which is very little, especially if I can do it on E85. I can just have it remove 3-4 degrees on E85 and just give me that extra safety margin. So that is the other option. Plus, I think the nitrous would look really good. Kong does some good stuff. I know they do a lot of good stuff with like blower setups, and then that's my other option. So I've got okay, yeah. So I knew it was 2 degrees of something. I wasn't sure if it was 50 or per 100, but yeah. So I think that's my other option, and that roughly I've priced it out with the controller, wide open throttle, and RPM controller to about 1,500 or so, for everything. And then I believe, if just to be on safe side, going with a low side fuel pump from an LT4 from the ZL1 for about $200. So $1,700. That gives me the nitrous with enough fuel to handle, 150 shot of nitrous. Option one, of course, that's option three. Option one being heads and cam all at once. Option two being just the heads and doing the DoD delete. And going that route, taking another step by step. That's something I've been doing here in this channel, doing one step at a time and trying to see improvements every single time. So that's one thing that I'm looking at. Hey, thanks a lot for stopping by, man. Thank you, and we'll definitely keep in contact, and I'm sure I'm gonna have more questions. So hope you have a good one. So that's option two, guys, and I think that's right now one of the leader ones that I like. How low miles it can take a lot. Yeah. Hey, what's going on, Scarface? It definitely can. And like I said, I've been every time I run this car, I data log it. I make sure to look at everything, make sure everything's still just where it needs to be. I'm not just going out there and running it and not really trying to get any information and see how the car is doing. So at any moment that I see something slightly going off, I'm going to be able to catch that right away. So nitrous being the third option. And then the fourth option, of course, is going boost. And there's various different routes that we can take in that aspect. Boost is a lot more expensive. Boost, you're looking at probably between 5,000 to 6,000 just for a blower kit. Hey, what's going on, Neptonic? Plus, another $1,500 in fuel system just to be able to get up to in the 650 to 700 horsepower range and be safe with it. So boost is one of the most expensive options, especially for these direct injection engines. For a lot of you guys just joining us, I've got the Camaro, and the Gen 5 direct injection engines basically use a high pressure fuel system. Yes, Symptonic, that's what we're talking about. The different options are what the next step is for the Camaro. And when it comes to supercharger, or any type of boost applications, because it's a Gen 5 direct injection engine, the car uses a high pressure fuel pump right under the intake manifold to drive the direct injection injectors. And they're basically, at least on our SS's, they're pretty much capped out at about full bolt-ons with a cam. I think if you go heads and cam, full bolt-ons basically on E85, and that's pretty much, you're getting close to the limit of E85 and what you can do with fuel. Now, if you were running 93, you could probably get up to about 550 or so with a supercharger. But if you want to make any more power than that, which is why people get a supercharger to get in the 600s, 700s, you basically have to upgrade all the fuel system from the low side. There's a pump that's in the tank. There's the mechanical high pressure pump, and then there's the injectors that you have to upgrade. And that, just going with the GM upgrades to the LT4, the ZL1 and ZL6 GM parts, can be close to $1,000 to $1,500. So you have to think about that when you're trying to supercharge a car or boost a car with Pro Charger, whatever. It's not only the price of that Pro Charger, that supercharger, whatever. You have to pretty much add in another $1,500 in parts for the fuel system, and tag on that. Luckily, I mean, it seems like we could, if you buying a supercharger, let's say a supercharger, you can do the fuel system install yourself because you're already removing the intake and all that. So that's not very difficult. You probably would. The difficult part would be dropping the tank itself to upgrade the fuel pump inside the tank. But there's a couple videos out on that, and if I ever do it, I'll make sure to make a video on it. But that stuff is that stuff is basically things that you could do, but you have to buy. Whereas if you decided to stay NA, like do a heads and cam, you can get that extra fuel a little bit and be making the 520 to 550 range, depending on how aggressive you want to be. And then throw in a nitrous kit, and that's the beauty of the nitrous kit, is that the nitrous kit, you basically just have to upgrade the low side fuel pump because it feeds off of the low side. So as long as you can get a strong enough low side that can feed the fuel to the fuel solenoid of the nitrous kit and also the high pressure fuel pump, then that's about it. That's all you can do. Modded vet, you're right. It's exactly right. It's very expensive to boost an SS car. And Andy, I wish I could. I'm actually on my laptop, so if I was on like my phone, I know some people do like live streams on their phone. Then we could walk out there and I can get the cold start, but I'm on my laptop, so can't do that. So yeah, that again, like I was mentioning, that's why I think the nitrous is the cheapest route that you can go in terms of making a lot of power with these direct injected engines, because my car, and I haven't dynoed it, guys, and it's not because I don't want to dyno it. I know a lot of you guys are always asking, why haven't you dynoed your car? And it's not that I don't want to dyno it. It's that the shop that I took my car to baseline it, Excessive Racing Engines, they're very close to me. But unfortunately, the way that their schedule is set up, my only day off is on Mondays in terms of during the week when the shop is open. So I work Tuesday through Friday, and Monday's my off day. So that's whenever I go. That Monday is my day when I can get things. I work on the car, or I run errands and things like that. Unfortunately, Mondays is whenever that shop is kind of doing their work, and they don't really use the dyno that day. They have a tuner that is not a resident. Like, he doesn't tune directly there all the time, and that's his dyno. So he needs to be there for you to use the dyno, and Mondays is like his off day. So it doesn't work out. I basically need to get a day where I don't work to go ahead and go and get the dyno. But my car should be with the full bolt-ons. My guess is around the 470 to 480 range to the wheels. Now, if I throw a blower on and leave it at safe boost levels, I'm spending, like Modded Vet mentioned, around $9,000, and that's if I do all the work myself. And I'm probably going to be getting about 650 horsepower, 700 to be on the safe side, to make, without, doing anything to the bottom end, keeping stock pistons and rods. You know, 9-10 pounds of boost, get about 650 horsepower or so. Well, I'm at 480, so that's only 170, about 170 horsepower gain out of $9,000. Well, I can just slap on a nitrous kit for $1,500 and do a 150 shot and be right up there in the low 600s with nitrous. So $1,500 or almost 10 grand and a lot easier install. And it's just, you know, it's hard to like say don't do nitrous when it's that expensive. Now, obviously nitrous, you have to be filling up bottles and that aspect, but for some good results, nitrous, you can't beat it. Now, that doesn't mean that if I go nitrous, I won't ever do boost, because I love boost. I had boost. I had a Pro Charger on my G8, so that would be awesome. Now, obviously, I've got a lot. The car itself, to spend $1,500 or $9,000, it's a lot easier for me to spend $1,500. Especially, I've got actually a son on the way, my first son coming, so I'm sure that's going to take up some of my money as well. And YouTube doesn't. If you've seen my latest video, you guys know that YouTube doesn't really pay, you know, the great, you know, lots of money to be able to fund all this stuff. It helps, but it definitely doesn't pay all that stuff. So thank you guys, thank you. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm really excited. The first one, it's a boy, and I'm sure eventually he'll be coming on here in the vlogs and hopefully helping me out with the car and get him into the cars early. but yeah, so right now it's between realistically doing heads, doing the heads and the DoD delete part with keeping a stock cam, or doing the nitrous kit. Both are pretty much going to be about the same price. So I haven't decided yet. I'll eventually decide, and probably early next year, January, February, I'll start doing that. But for now, I'm actually going to try to enjoy. I really want to try to get to the 10s. I'm at 11.2, 9, almost 11.3. So it's going to be very difficult. Hoping for better weather and maybe some negative, like negative 1,000, negative 2,000 DA, which I think we've seen before here in Houston. So if I can get to that, and then also do some weight reduction. Thanks a lot, Andy. Really appreciate it. If I can, I do some weight reduction. I'm hoping to get that 10-second pass as is with the bolt-ons, and I believe I can do the underdrive pulley, and that might give me like a half a tenth or something. So keep an eye out for that video, guys. That's going to be the next one. Is I want to hopefully get some good weather here so I can go and try to run a 10-second quarter mile, and it would probably be with, you know, all the weight reduction, removing the passenger seat, removing the rear seat, and going that route. But with some really good weather, hopefully we can get there. So other than that, guys, that's, man, I was sorry, I got into a long conversation about the Camaro. I just love talking about that thing. It's amazing. And I do have a wrap idea and working on that along the way coming up, and that is probably coming up here in the next month or so. So keep an eye out for that as well. I think you guys are really gonna like it. It's gonna be really nice. Do they have the converter for the 10-speed out yet? I don't believe they do. I think they have one person testing one. Scarface. Yeah, man, it's gonna be a little tougher, but you know, I'll find a way. I'll find a way to keep working and doing what I can. And yes, Circle D does have believe they're testing one out, but they haven't brought it out to market yet. Which is another reason why I'm not even really that excited or interested in doing a cam on the car, because I'm going to be pretty much limited on what kind of cam I can use. Without it'd have to be a, you know, stock stall friendly cam. So I think doing a cam on the car is probably going to have to wait till we get a little more support for this 10-speed to get something to match perfectly well with it. Any advice on launching at the track? So modded vet, the best way that I've been able to launch at the track with the 10 speed specifically has been just turning everything completely off. I've turned off complete traction, the traction control completely off, and then I've done a nice burnout. It's, let's say, 5-second burnout, and then when I got up to the line, I'm on the brakes and I'm just right off of idle. Basically, I think I stall it to about 1,000 RPM. So I don't try to stall it really high. I just a little bit above idle at 1,000 RPM, and then just let it eat. I found that to be the best way. I did in my last track video try it using the launch control feature with the line lock burnout and all that, and that actually wasn't bad. It was pretty much exactly the same, almost the same as my just leaving off of idle with everything completely off. But it was still slower. It was like 0.03 slower. So it was very, very close, but just it was slower using the launch control. I've found just launching right off of idle to be the best way to do it. So that's one thing I would say is do the launch control. It sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I think it just depends on. I left my launch control in automatic, just auto everything, and even though it kind of stalled it up to 2,000 RPM, it still had the same 60-foot, same everything as me leaving right off of idle with everything completely off. So that's been the best way that I've been able to do it. Joe's CO1. I mean, he's all the way in Atlanta. That'd be a drive for me to go all the way out there. Maybe when he comes down for TX2K down in Houston next March, I believe, sometime in March. If he comes down here, by then I'll have some more stuff to be able to do some work. Although I think his is all stock, so I should be able to beat him pretty easily. I think. But yeah, I would love to run him. If he was a lot closer, we'd definitely be getting some runs in. I don't know if you guys follow Determined Veteran. For those of you guys that are on here, but he's got a ZL1 as well. But he actually did some mods to his. He's got Rotofab headers, E85, I think, pulley. So his car is pretty quick. Definitely not stock. But he is down here near San Antonio, and that's only about a 2-hour drive, 2.5-hour drive for me. So we are trying to work together to see if we can get a run in with that Mod ZL1. I might be driving up and seeing what he does. Yeah, he just got that really awesome GT350R. Man, that is nice. I told him I'm basically his little mini me on YouTube because he's got the ZL1. I have the Chevy SS. He's got the GT350R, and I've got the Mach 1. So I've got like I'm like the lower end. I got the lower end cars, and he's got the nice high end cars. But he's a great guy, and loves what he does, and I definitely want to collaborate with him and get some runs in. And see just how well my car does against an actual modded ZL1. I would think that I'm gonna lose, but maybe it's not that bad. Maybe I won't lose by that much. I've already kind of proven multiple times, and even in that last video, you guys saw 2 different ZL1s running. When I ran the 1129 at 122, there was 2 ZL1s. One that I actually raced, and he had some issues with traction control. His gas light went on, and he thought it was a traction, so he turned it back on, unfortunately. So he wasn't able to leave good off the line. But the trap speed that he had was still only 117 miles an hour, and his best run that day in a previous run had been an 11.5 at 117 miles an hour. So Obviously, my car was a lot faster than that in 1129, and the mile per hour was much faster. So it was his car, and then the second one was trapping the exact same thing, 117. Thanks, Andy. Thanks. I was very impressed with the car, especially after seeing those ZL1s just trapping 117 miles an hour. That 5 miles an hour is a big difference when it comes to trap speed. I mean, I started at 114 miles an hour stock, and doing like headers and a tune, which should give you about 30 horsepower or so, only brought me up 2 miles an hour faster. Then I did the E85, and it brought me up another 2 miles an hour. And that, I think E85 gives about 20 to 25 horsepower. So 50 horsepower difference is about 4 miles per hour. Now, obviously, my car probably doesn't have, the same horsepower as that ZL1, but the tune really helps in the launch, and that is where you pick up the lower end is where I think the SS was making up a lot of that power. Yeah, so the SS can get itself going, I feel, a lot better than the ZL1 can. And for some reason, the ZL1 just feels like, I guess with the stock tune, it just kind of hits a wall in the top end, and that's why you're not seeing these higher mile per hours. I'm sure once they tune it, yeah, exactly. Once the ZL1 gets tuned, and like especially if Joe gets like a pulley and a tune with some like 85, I mean that car is gonna fly. So I definitely got some time to kind of up my game, get maybe do the heads and do the nitrous just to kind of keep up with them. Yeah, we have some company cars at work, and they're always GPS tracked and everything, so I can't go over the speed limit on those. Anyways, guys, I also want one thing I want to talk about here in this live chat also was that what you guys think of the new C8 Corvette and what they're talking about and its dyno numbers. So there's been videos on it already, and I just kind of want to give my take on it. So the article from Motor Trend, if you guys haven't seen it, basically talked about the C8 on a dyno, and when they were running it on the dyno, based on the calculations, they found like fifth gear to be, 1-to-1, or sixth gear to be close to 1-to-1. And when they were running it on the dyno, the car was putting down 556 horsepower and like 570 pound-feet of torque to the wheels. And obviously the car is from GM rated to 495 and 470 at the engine. So something was way off. Now, there's a CSP, Complete Street Performance, did a good video kind of explaining something that could have been done to kind of fudge the numbers up. But I think there was something to do with, they wanted to find out what the final gear ratio was, and they didn't know that off the bat. So I think once they figured that out and then reran the car on the dyno, what they saw was that it put down 478 horsepower, but still 550 something pound-feet of torque, which is really weird. So there's to me, for those that are thinking, oh my God, the C8 Corvette has way more power than advertised, blah 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 blah. I don't really think my personal opinion is that it doesn't. I think it's right in par. The 478 horsepower probably is a good number. Maybe it might be rated just a little bit higher, and because it's a DCT, that new transmission is probably a lot more efficient, not as much parasitic loss. There's no drive shaft. There's none of that. It's pretty much directly coupled in the back since the engine's in the back. So the drivetrain loss is probably way down. It's not your typical 15%. So the 478 to the wheels, I could see that. But the 550 torque, I mean, I don't know how that, now maybe it does have a little bit more torque, but I'm still on the fence on that one. Until we get some customer cars and people start actually dynoing them, on like a dyno jet or whatever dyno. Once we start seeing a bigger sample size and see more cars, then we'll have a good idea of what they're doing. Yes, exactly, modded vet. Without the drive shaft, the drivetrain loss is probably a lot less. So I can see the 478, but yeah, and it does look amazing. I mean, not taking anything away from it. I mean, the car is still fast, and it does a 0 to 60 in 2.8 seconds. Runs a quarter mile in 11.1 seconds. I mean, not to my horn, but the SS is almost right there. So, but I think those cars. Not sure how difficult it's going to be to crack those computers and tune those cars, but it's just an basically an LT1. It's not like a really, really fancy LT5 like the ZR1s. But if there's a way to tune those cars for a couple $100, like let's say $1,000, that's going to be a monster, guys. Because just imagine if it's already doing with the factory calibrations and everything a 2.80 to 60. All you need to do is throw a tune at it, some drag radials, and that thing will be doing 2.6, 2.50 to 60, which is incredible. That is insane. That car, put some drag radials on it and a tune, and it'll probably be running mid-10s, just like that, without adding any intakes, any headers, and any of that stuff. Not remove any cats. Do a cat delete. Air intake in a tune, and then throw E85 at it. You're looking at probably a low 10-second car, and it's going to be really, really simple bolt-ons. Plus, with all that space, I mean, you're going to be able to work on it yourself, be able to do all that work yourself. For the exhaust, you might have to remove the rear bumper, but not that big of a deal. I mean, I've done it multiple times on my Camaro. So I'm really excited about the C8. It's going to be really, really, really fun car. I'm interested to see kind of what people's first impressions are once they start getting them, and interested to see what they're capable of. I'm sure someone's going to grab it and take it straight to the drag strip, put some drag radials on it, and see if it'll run a 10-second, which would be awesome. And then just to see the aftermarket, how it'll sound. I'm interested to see, I mean, how it'll sound, because with the mid-engine and having the shorter exhaust system, once they do like a straight pipe or some like exhaust, I wonder if it's going to be sounding similar to the way our normal front engine cars, V8s, pushrod V8 sound, or if it's going to be slightly different because it's a much shorter exhaust. So hey, what's going on? Yeah, definitely a game changer. So it'll be very interesting. Very interesting. I'm looking forward to it. I'm very much looking forward to hearing about the Z06 version. That's going to be insane. But I think that'll be a lot for people that want to modify the car and like do crazy builds on them. I think the Stingray is probably going to be the best bet for people. Transstall, like for the 10 speeds, is that what you're asking? Modded, putting a stall on like on the transmission for the 10 speeds. I had, if that's what you're asking, I had definitely a whole nother driving experience for sure. So I had my Pontiac G8 had a 3,600 RPM stall, and it was nice at the beginning because it felt cool, especially with the Pro Charger, because I could really rev it up and let out the like blow by and all that to vent the atmosphere. But to drive it on a somewhat normal basis was kind of rough. You really had to get on it, lean on it, and I wasn't a big fan in the long run of a stall. Now, if it was like a race car or something like that you only drive once in a while, then a stall would definitely help, especially if you can get the right combination with your intakes, manifold, or your intake manifold and your heads and all that. That would really, really work out. Andy, man, I would love to have some sponsors. Unfortunately, I'm not that big of a YouTuber. I only have, at this point, 2,000 subscribers, which is awesome. Appreciate it for you guys that are here. Thank you guys. 2,000 subscribers. In little over a year. Not as big of a growth as some other people, but hey, I never thought I'd get to 1,000 subscribers, let alone 2,000 now. Yeah, the C8 is a whole nother level. And again, like I mentioned, I think what you're going to see, guys, is a lot of people saying, "No, wait for the Z06, wait for the Z06." But the people that wait for the Z06, I think they're going to be hit similar to the way that people waited for the C4 ZR1. Just kind of like a little history for you guys. The C4 ZR1 from like I'm not sure, it was 91 to 94, maybe 95, or 92 to 95. That car was I feel like very similar to what we're gonna see happen here. We had the regular C4 Vet, the Corvette, the Corvette Stingray, and that Corvette Stingray had the LT1, the old TBI LT1, I believe, or was it fuel injection? But it was an LT1 engine, pushrod, cam and center, and then the ZR1 variant of that C4 actually was a dual overhead cam setup. So it was very similar to what you see now in your modular Mustangs. It had 4 cams on the top. It had one cam on each side. It was a dual cam engine. It was like a marine. It was made by one of the marine companies. It was like a marine engine basically. But that car basically, because it had such a unique engine, was very difficult to mod. And so I fear that's what's going to happen with the Z06, guys. It's going to come with this flat plane, dual overhead, 5.5 liter V8, and with some boost, with turbos or whatever, supercharger, turbos, not sure. But the engine itself is not going to be as simple as what we know now as the pushrod V8 with the cam in the middle. It's going to be very much more. Yes, it's going to make more power. It's going to do all that, but it's going to be a lot more expensive to do any type of work on it. So if someone wanted to do like a crazy build or something, or have a car that they wanted to build themselves, I think the Stingray is going to be the best platform to do it, because it's going to have the familiar V8 with the pushrod cam right in the middle that everyone's familiar with. So they'll be able to pull that out, fully build that motor, put it back in for the same price that you would, roughly same price that you would with the, any other engine, because it's very similar. Everything's going to be a lot more price right. Whereas, thanks a lot, Modded Vet. Appreciate it. So as you have a good one. So as the Z06, on the other hand, that one, you're basically, the engine you get is what you're going to get stuck with. And you better hope that it's forged, and I'm sure it will be, but it won't be as easy to make a crazy build out of that. You're not going to be able to just stick a bigger cam in there. You're going to be kind of like the Mustangs, where if you notice, any Mustangs, I mean, they hit a certain wall, and that's it. They can't go any faster. An NA Mustang, unless they spend a lot of money, a lot more money, doing like hit cams, like $3,000 in cams or $4,000 in cams or whatever. Whereas with an LS pushrod, I mean, we can do whole DOD delete heads and all that, and make way more power than a Mustang can. NA, the Mustangs, although, can handle a lot more boost, so they can. But they got to go boosted that way, and even that they still fail and all that. So that's what I'm worried about with the Z06. I think I'm going to wait for the Grand Sport, which is basically going to have the Z06 body with the LT2 pushrod V8 in the back. That is what I would wait for in about 3 years. I think that's going to be the best of both worlds. You're going to get the aggressive styling of the Z06 with the familiar package of the LT2 that you can build up and make whatever you want to make out of. What are you guys' thoughts on that? I'd like to hear what you guys' thought is on those. But that is personally my thought. Now, if you just want a fast car out the box factory, the Z06 Corvette is probably going to be the one to go with. Yes, no, man, that's basically. I mean, it's anything dealing with, and that's making sure if nothing happens with those engines and stuff like that, or we don't find a weak point. Very new engines, very unique designs. It's going to be very difficult to do. And Andy, I'll definitely get a cold start in the next video. So that I think going back to that LT2 engine is going to be the best bet for all of us. At least for us that want to do the work themselves, because I don't think I'd be able to do the type of work that I would want to do on my own on those dual overhead flat plane crane V8s. But I'm sure they're going to sound amazing too. All right. Well, guys, I've got 9 people on, so how about I didn't get a chance to do the gift card or buy the gift card, but I'm still gonna give one away. And yeah, I would definitely mod the crap out of the LT2. I don't know how I would do the other one. Anthony, do I ever miss the SS? Actually, not really. The SS, I mean, it was a nice car. It was unique, but it wasn't like, oh my God. And I guess it's because I'd never really used it the way it should have been used. I basically drove it 20 miles a week to and from work. On the weekends, I would use the G8 because I had the G8 at the time. Obviously, that's what I would drive around in if I wanted to have fun. I never really got to truly have fun with the SS. So don't really miss the SS. Although now that I have a son coming on the way, I mean, maybe the SS would have been awesome to have as a the dad car, but we'll see. Things change and priorities change, and I'm still keeping the Camaro and focusing on that, but I'll find something else eventually. 302 high output with GT40 heads is fast. Yep, I'm sure those are pretty good. I had a cousin with a Fox body, and he had a 302 fully built and everything, with the heads and everything, and that thing was quick. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and I guess we'll do the giveaway really quick here. So I'm going to. I love doing the whole like random number generator thing. I think that's like the fairest way to do things. So how about this? We've got 9 people, so I'm gonna say comment down below a number from 1 to 10. If it's already been commented before, that number is already taken, so only one person can have that number. And then, hey, what's going on, Tony? Not much, man. We were talking about all the different things, the C8, how crazy it's going to be, and talking about how what I'm going to be doing with the Camaro next. Think after talking out with you guys, I think I've narrowed it down to either doing heads in the DoD with keeping the stock ham or nitrous. So we'll see how that goes. Andy, there you go. Sorry, I was just about to say, Andy, someone's already picked 7. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we got 5 of. So if anybody else wants to go ahead and get some numbers, I'll give it a couple times. But yeah, so just kind of recap for a lot of people that are here, that are new here. You know, we've got the Camaro running the best it's ran. Next video you guys will probably see will hopefully be me. Actually, it might be me installing the stripe kit on the Mustang, because that's the next thing I got to do on that. But hopefully, if I get some good weather, I want to go to the track and remove the seats, the passenger seats and the rear seats, do some little bit of weight reduction, and see what the car can run with some weight reduction and some good weather. Fingers crossed, I'm hoping for a 10. Man, I bet that is a lot of fun. I am sure that is loads of fun. See, if I had a 6-speed like your 1LE, cam and heads would be really good to do, because you don't have to worry about a stall. Yeah, man, I'm hoping I really want to do a 10. I really want to run a 10. I mean, I haven't really seen just bolt-on Camaros. Um, well, actually, I take that back. I think Camaro 6. There's a whole list of a few bolt-on Camaros with some weight reduction that have been deep in the 10s. I was hoping I could try to get there without weight reduction, but it's really close. If I got some like negative 2000 DA, maybe I could drop another 2/10 to get very, very close to that 10-second mile without weight reduction. When I ran the 11.2, I was at 0 DA. So if I can get to negative 2000 and not have that headwind, that 20-mile-an-hour headwind, I might be able to get the 10s without weight reduction. But I'm not sure. Dang, 50 or 100 shot. There we go, baby. I want nitrous so bad. I want it. I want it so bad. Okay, we got 5 numbers picked. Guys, if someone just joined, you can look up through the comments and see where they started picking numbers. Pick a number from 1 to 10. If it's already been picked, obviously you can't use that number. And I'll be giving away a $25 gift card to. This time I'm going to do advanced auto parts. So, question: I have the 8 converter shutter that just started. Do you think one more night at the track will hurt? They can't flush until Monday. I mean, if you've been tracking it, I wouldn't see why it would if you've already been doing it. I think the shutter is really like only when you're like cruising. I'm not sure if it makes an issue, if it causes an issue when you're at the track actually going wide open throttle. But I'm not familiar. I'm not familiar with the 10-speed, the 8-speed, sorry, and the shutter itself. So, I mean, if you've been tracking and racing it, what's one more night? But then again, that's just me. I don't want. Yeah. So yeah, I would just wait till Monday in that case. I wouldn't want to push it. All right, guys, come on. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people with pick numbers. Come on, let's pick some more numbers. I don't know who else is on. I wish I could see it in the live chat. Apparently I can only see myself as a participant. But I'm gonna give it till, let's see, 3 more minutes. So 3 more minutes, people, come on, pick a number if you haven't already. I'm not sure who else is on, but I want to go ahead and give away this gift card, as a little appreciation to those that watch my videos and really, get something out of it. I hope they help out and they're informative and helpful. It's crazy. When I first started doing the YouTube thing, I didn't think that I would get to this point. CJ, it's 1 through 10, number 1 through 10. So go ahead and pick a number. There's already, I think 5, 7, 10, 3, and 6 have already been taken. So any number that hasn't been taken from 1 to 10. So you can do 1 or you can do 2, whichever one. So CJ, you can go ahead and pick a number from 1 through 10. Give yourself 1 more minute here. Okay. Awesome. Okay, so we've got 6 people, and we've got 1 more minute here. So I'll give 1 more minute in case someone comes in and goes in. But let me go ahead and get this set up. Random.org. And as you guys can see here, we've got the random number generator and random.org, and we're going to put 1 through 10. So 1 through 10 right there. And actually, we are pretty much good to go. So you guys are locked in. Let's go ahead and generate and see what we get. 3. Who had 3? Num, congratulations. You are the winner. And this is the second time you win, Num. Congrats. If you mind, go ahead and send me an email again just so I can have records of it with your address so I can send this and send it to you can send it there to that email. Just send me an email. You won the gift card and the address where you want me to ship it to and send it to, and we'll get that sent right out to you. Congrats again, man. That'll help you get some wiper fluid or coolant or something. I don't know. Anyways, guys, that's gift cards. I try to give away gift cards on my lives. Today I actually forgot to actually go buy them, so I'm doing this and then I'll get it and I'll be shipping it out to you guys. For those that have won before, just if you guys could just kind of comment below and say that you guys actually did receive them. You know, a lot of people say, oh, they do the rent these things and they don't actually receive the gift cards or they don't even send them out or things like that. But yes, I do send these things out, guys. I gave away a hat in one of my logo hats. You know, then they received that as well. So I'm glad some people are, you know, able to do that, and it's just part of me giving back from the little bit that YouTube does give me. It's a way for me to thank you guys and get back to you guys. Yeah, thanks a lot. Yeah, J-Dog, I gave you that. Yeah, send that over. Like I said, ideally, as this channel keeps growing and getting better and better, you know, the more money I can make from YouTube, the more I can give back. Muffler bearings, like the hangers or like the rubber isolators. Anthony, I'm not muffler bearings. Or is that what you're telling Num to get, maybe? But anyways, guys, like I mentioned, the more this channel grows, the more income I get, the more I can give back to you guys. I mean, right now it's gift cards. Maybe later on it'll be actual car parts. That would be awesome. Oh, okay. So I would love. I'd love to do. I know Joe. The incredible Joe with the ZL1. He actually created a Patreon account, and he's using that to kind of give away stuff. And as that grows, he's giving away. I haven't done a Patreon account just because I don't know. I don't know if I should or not. If people would be interested or not. But you know, and I liked his idea. You know, he is giving back to everybody as a giveaway Patreon account. But you know, for now, I don't know. I feel like I don't want to be charging you guys, you know, to join in, and so I can give back to one. Like I don't want it to become more like you guys are having to pay to possibly win something. I want all this to be like, let's get YouTube to pay for our stuff. All right. Like let's get, you know, as the channel grows and as I'm getting sad revenue and everything's going up, that is all YouTube, you know, and they're paying for the ads, they're giving money for the ads, and that you guys are watching in that case, and you guys aren't paying me anything personally. That's what I want. I want them to be able to pay for that so I can give out to you guys. I could do the Patreon, but then, you know, you guys would be paying for that, and I want to be giving and not, you know, receiving, if that makes any sense. So that's kind of my ideas. Hopefully we're at 2,000. Let's get to 5,000. That's my next goal, and then, you know, move on from there. Keep growing and growing, and the bigger the channel gets, the more things I can do, the more things I can afford to do, the more I can give back. So anyways, guys, I think that's going to be it for today's live. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Talked a lot about cars, and I want to try to do these every other Thursday or every third Thursday, but probably on Thursdays is when I can do it. And just talk and chat with you guys, my subscribers. Maybe bring you guys some news, like I titled this "Car Talk." So bring you guys news on the latest in cars, and just not just my cars, but just cars in the car community in general. So I hope you guys had a good one. I hope you guys have a great night, and I'll see you guys in the next one.